So where do I start? I was going to do a video update on the diet that I'm doing, but what are we? Today's Friday, so yeah, 7 days ago I was hospitalized, and I thought maybe I would do a video about why I was hospitalized, because I think um, it's certainly connected and it's important with how I'm dealing with the diet. So Thursday last week, I've been on 3 weeks of um, annual leave from my work, and it's been a nice time where I've been able to rest and recuperate and do a lot of things that I enjoy doing, such as IT, artificial intelligence, video editing, preparing things like this. As you can tell, I've now got a bit better of a setup at home. So yeah, 3 weeks, and in the very last week, on Thursday last week, um, I woke up and I thought, oh, I feel a little bit dizzy, and I thought, oh, maybe there's a inner ear infection or something like that. I've had inner ear infections before, quite common, and I thought, well, maybe that's just all it is. But as I was walking around throughout the day, it was consistent, um, and I just thought, oh, it'll probably go away overnight. So I woke up on Friday morning last week, and it was still there and a little bit worse. So having to hold on to things as I'm moving around through the house, and decided that it probably wasn't a good idea to go anywhere. So I just stayed at home and rested on the couch and watched streaming services or YouTube. By about midday, I started to get a tingling sensation in my hands and in my feet, and I was still getting this dizziness effect to the point where most of the time I needed to just have my eyes closed, because if I closed my eyes, then the room stopped spinning. And certainly, if I had my eyes open and I turned right or turned left, then it would be significantly worse. So, still a Friday and still at home and past midday. By about 3 o'clock, I felt like I was incapacitated and actually couldn't get off the couch. If I went to move forward, I would feel intensely dizzy, to the point where I was starting to get quite fearful about my health, particularly with the extreme diet that I'm doing, which, sorry, I will update in the next video. So I said to my wife, I think we better call an ambulance and go to the hospital. I had minor heart palpitations, my breathing was laboured, and I felt like lots of things were starting to go wrong, and that maybe my body was starting to fail as a direct result of this particular diet. So called an ambulance. They were wonderful. They came, put me in a stretcher, took me to the hospital, and we were in the hospital pretty quickly. Given that we're in a country location, it's a little bit easier than being in a city. So they did all the bloods, and I made a point of telling the doctor that I only have one kidney, and whilst you're doing the bloods, can you check my creatinine and my GFR? Because that had been worrying me since I've been on this particular diet. By the way, I've been on the diet for about 3 months now. So they did almost a full blood profile. There's only a few things that were missing. And at the end of my stay there, because obviously I got healthy and was able to go home, they gave me the entire printout, including the diagnosis. And in that printout, I can see that some of the key health factors for a single kidney person. So GFR had been still below 60 when it should be at or equal, above or equal to 60. And my last test, which was 9 months ago, I think, it was 59. So nearly there. Now it's 63. So I'm quite happy with the GFR. I'm going to do a video on what GFR is, because each time I'm telling friends and relatives about this, they go, well, what does GFR do? My basic understanding is that it's around how the kidney can actually process waste and push it through, how effective it is. So anyway, that particular measure was quite good. So the other measure, creatinine, it's taken me like 5 times to get that word right. For a single kidney person, creatinine should be, at least for my age, between 50 and 110. And ever since I donated the kidney, it has been above 110 and slowly coming down. I think it was 130 or 140 initially, and then it's come down to 120, and then it came down to 115, and then it went up to 123 because of bad lifestyle choices, i.e. schnitzel, chips and gravy. However, in this extreme diet, which has concerned me greatly about particularly the kidney, it is down to 112. So it is the lowest it has been since I had donated the kidney. However, it still needs to be below 110. There are some other levels that concern me probably more than what the kidney ones do, and that is my glucose. My glucose was at 7.6. And again, because I'm a single kidney person, it should realistically be, I can't remember what the lower number is, but the upper number shouldn't be any higher than 5.5. And I think this diet that I'm on, which I'll explain in the next video, is generating its own glucose. Because I can guarantee you that I am not having glucose in my diet. Yet I'm sitting here. I was sitting at 7.6 in the hospital, and you could say that that was in part due to high levels or extreme stress from having what I had, which I still haven't explained. So there was that lactate acid was also a concern. I'll explain that in the next video. And some of the electrolyte type materials were up or down and a bit out of kilter. So I've got a fair bit of work to do. I'm doing enormous amounts of research now. Haven't been to see the proper GP because it's just impossible to get an appropriate time for when I'm not working and when they're available. But the end result, the end diagnosis from the hospital was that I was having an acute bout of vertigo. So there was a crystal inside my ear function that shouldn't be there. And so whenever I turned my head wasn't actually working out where I was, and it was just causing enormous spinning and dizziness. So left the hospital Friday night. I didn't even stay in overnight, and I was quite honestly too distressed and upset when I went in, and I was just so tired from the stress that I don't know, 8 or 9 o'clock, I said to my wife, just take me home. So I went home. Next day, Saturday, was the exact same. Woke up, still had the dizziness, etc. The hospital provided me with, or the doctor at the hospital provided me with particular exercises to reduce the impact of these crystals. Also gave me some medication that is very much like hay fever or seasickness medication. And I think I've explained this before. I don't like taking medication. I prefer to do things as naturally as possible and leave the medication to the utmost last resort. However, I did take some of the medication to see whether it would make a difference, and to be honest, I didn't feel like it made a difference. I did the physical exercises. That didn't make a difference either. So, tried all this on Saturday, not much joy. On Sunday, feeling just a slight bit better, maybe 10%. And I thought, something's got to happen, because otherwise on Monday, I'm due back at work after 3 weeks leave, and I was ready to go back to work. So on Sunday, I decided to do some Dr. Google research and Dr. YouTube research. And I actually found a decent exercise and a decent video that explained it far better than what the doctors and the documentation that they provided me explains it. So I followed those instructions, and there was one particular one where you lay down, turn your head that way, turn your head that way, turn your head that way, and then sit up with pauses in between and holding your head in that position for a little while. The first time I did that, I thought, that actually feels like it's working better. And so I rinsed and repeated 5 times. And when I stood up, I was 50% better than what I was before I started. So it pays to do some Dr. Google and Dr. YouTube research, I think, at least for me. That's not a recommendation for anyone to go and forget their GP. You should always seek professional medical advice. So I did that again on Sunday night, feeling a lot better, a lot less swayy, a lot less dizzy. And Sunday night, I thought, well, Monday morning is going to be like a flip of a coin, really, as to whether I go to work or not. Wake up in the morning, did the exercise straight away, laying in the bed, and felt like I had maybe 5 or 10% dizziness compared to 90% on Sunday. And I thought, I should be able to go to work. And at work, I've got stairs that I have to negotiate. So I did. I went to work. By the end of the day, I was very tired, mentally and physically. Advised my employer of my circumstances. And on Tuesday, I was at least 50% better again. And on Wednesday, at least 50% better again. So each time, like, I'm getting down to, say, 5%, down to 2%, down to 1%, down to 0.5% of dizziness. To what are we today? We are on Friday, and I have no dizziness. So it is gone, which is great. And so that's a very long explanation as to why I haven't done a update video on my extreme diet, because I had an extreme visit at the hospital. And I originally felt like I was an idiot because I was blaming the diet for what was happening, but it's vertigo. It can happen to anyone at any time. We got over it. We moved on. And next video will be about the carnivore diet. That's the one I'm on. Thanks for watching.